What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today I'm talking about life after post-wrapping my EcoBoost Mustang. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, I recently wrapped my 2018 EcoBoost in Vivid's Voltage Blue Gloss. The amount of attention and feedback that I get on the car now has drastically changed. So the way I base whether other people like my car or not is based off of the response from kids. Let me give you an example. So I was driving one day and I saw a little boy walking with his mom on the sidewalk, and as I drove, I was taking a corner at a stoplight, and they were right there. And the little boy saw the car, and he was just throwing the thumbs up at me, and I kind of laughed, because the way his reaction to the car was funny, but just like, he was just like throwing the thumbs up, and so I threw the thumbs up back at him, of course. And then there was another instance where we were coming out of a restaurant, and there was another family walking out right behind us, and there was a little girl, maybe about, 6, 7 years old, and the car was parked right out front, right where we walked out of the restaurant. And as soon as she saw the car, she was like, "Oh my God, Daddy, look at the car, look at it, it's blue." And the dad was like, "Ah, it's a nice paint job." And so a lot of people think that it's a paint job, and it's not. So I have to constantly correct them and tell everybody, it's a wrap job. It's a wonderful compliment to get from people that the wrap job looks like a paint job, but it's not a paint job, it's a wrap job, And so it has constantly changed my life quite a bit, because now a lot more people are interested in this car, and the car gets so much more attention. So I have people that come up to me on the road, that stop next to me and get my attention, and they want to talk about the car. And then there's also been people at the local grocery stores that see me get out of my car, and then they come over and talk to me. And one of the craziest instances is that there's this guy at where I work, right? He's very serious, and you would almost think that when you try to talk to him, this guy just hates you because he's so serious. And so when I was in the process of wrapping my car, I guess, when he would show up to work, he would see my car, and he was watching this kind of process where the panels on the car were just slowly changing to color. They were becoming blue. And one day I was, outside at my car, and he came out, and he was just like, "What's going on with your car?" He started talking to me, and I was shocked, because he doesn't talk very much to anybody, let alone he doesn't talk to me, and so I was kind of in shock that all of a sudden, just because I started wrapping my car, this guy who I never would have imagined would have talked to me, all of a sudden started talking to me. So it has definitely changed the way people have kind of looked at me, and has definitely gotten a lot more people to come over and talk to me, which is cool. I don't mind people coming up and asking questions and asking about the car. I don't mind that at all. I definitely encourage that. If you want to come and talk about the car, then by all means. But don't get it twisted. The reason that I wrapped my car is not because I wanted more attention from people. That's not why I wrapped my car. And so that's definitely one of the things that has happened, but that is not the reason why I did it. So here's what I want to talk about. And here's why I kind of started the video off by talking about what I did in terms of the attention that I got, because I think it brings up a good point when it comes to wrapping your vehicle. So one of my biggest influencers in why I wrapped my car was, if you've seen my previous videos, it was Christian over at CK Wraps, and he has a lot of videos on how to wrap cars. So I spent quite a bit of time watching his videos before I gained enough confidence to say, okay, I'm going to wrap my EcoBoost Mustang. And it also helps that he has a few videos out there showing him wrap a Mustang. So that definitely helped out a lot. But after watching some of his videos, I go down and I read the comments, and I see some people commenting, I wish I had the balls to wrap my car. I wish I had enough confidence to wrap my car. I wish I had this to wrap my car, or anything like that. And I'm here to tell you that if you want to wrap your car, you have what it takes to wrap it. That's for sure. The biggest limiting factor, of course, when it comes to wrapping your car is you should never let it be your mindset. It's your wallet, how much you're willing to spend on wrap. So wrap itself is, couple $100s, and maybe not a couple, but quite a $400, $500, $600 alone. And then you have to buy the tools to wrap your car, which increases the cost quite a bit. But I'm here to tell you that I think what's going on with people in terms of confidence in not being able to wrap their vehicle is the mindset that they have. So I've never heard Christian talk about this, straight up, but you can kind of come to this conclusion by watching his videos. So you can see that after watching a few of his videos, there's two major players when it comes to wrapping a vehicle. There's one, the consumer, and then there's two, the wrap installer, the person who is going to do the work, right? So as a consumer, for example, let's say if I owned a shop, right, and I had I wrapped cars. If I had my own shop, a consumer would come in and look at the different colors that are available and say, okay, I want my car that color. And that's the hardest part of the consumer, basically just walking in and choosing the color, right? As a wrap installer, you don't care about the color, you just do the work. And that's what I want to talk about. When you go to wrap your own vehicle, you play both parts. Not only do you play the consumer, but you also play the wrap installer. And that's important because I think a lot of people out there play the consumer more than they play the wrap installer. So let me tell you a little bit about what I think happens when people try to be a consumer more than a wrap installer for somebody who wants to wrap their own vehicle. When you play a consumer more than you play the wrap installer, you're more worried about changing your car into a certain color. So for example, like my car is shadow black, right? If I play the consumer, I would be more focused on changing my car blue because that's the color that I chose, right? But that's not the way to go about it. And the reason is because as a consumer, you pay to have your car wrapped. You don't want to do the work yourself. So when you go to wrap your car, if your mindset is in the state of a consumer, you're going to get extremely frustrated and you're probably not ever going to finish the car and you're going to fail. Or maybe you will get through the process of wrapping your car, but it's going to be a horrible job and you're going to cut corners in various places where you're not going to get full exposure and it's just going to look like a very tacky job. And don't get me wrong, my wrap job is by no means perfect. There's a few areas where I didn't get full coverage, but for the most part, you can't really tell unless you get up close to the wrap and actually inspect it for yourself. To the average person out there, they don't see these mistakes, but for a professional, they probably would notice these things right off the bat because they're a professional and they know where to look and what areas are more complicated than others and where people would try to cut corners. So I think the people that are out there who are saying, oh, I wish I had the confidence or I wish I had the balls to wrap my car are in the mindset of a consumer. And more than anything, they just want their car to be a different color. So if that's all you want is for your car to be a different color, I would recommend that you just pay the money to somebody who can professionally install the wrap for you, because I would highly argue that if that's your mindset, you're going to be extremely frustrated, because I've heard plenty of times after talking to a few people after wrapping my vehicle, they say that they wanted to wrap their vehicle too, but that they got quickly frustrated and they just quit and they just took their car to have it professionally installed instead. So what mindset do you have to be in then to take on a project like this? As a beginner, you have to understand that this process is going to take a very, very, very long time, especially as a beginner. You have to set aside days, maybe even weeks to get your car wrapped. It took me a few weeks, and I mean, I don't mean like I was literally wrapping from wake up to sleep. No, I mean, I was, I would get off of work and I would wrap a piece of the car. And as a beginner, it takes a long time. So you have to set aside that time and plan accordingly to make sure that you're going to be able to see that whole piece out to whatever you're going to wrap. Because once you start, you're pretty much committed. So how do you get into that mindset? What is the mindset of a wrap installer? So let me kind of tell you one thing, okay? When you're going to wrap your own vehicle, you shouldn't care so much about the color, because the color is just a byproduct of wrapping your car, okay? Yes, choosing the color definitely plays an important role, but it's not what you should be worried about. So I'll tell you my experience if you haven't already heard it. I wanted to wrap my EcoBoost Mustang in Vivid's Demon Gloss Black, right? It's one of their newest colors released. It's a really cool dark red color and it looks black at night. And that's the color I wanted to choose. But when I went to go buy that wrap, they were sold out. And I took a complete 180 and I bought Voltage Blue Gloss instead, and I wrapped my car in Voltage Blue Gloss. See, I was not too concerned about the color. It was never about the color when I decided I was going to wrap my car. It was about wrapping my car, because wrapping your vehicle is a mentally challenging task. I think it takes at a minimum, 4 things to wrap your car. It takes dedication, motivation, a lot of patience, and optimism to see the big picture, because your car is going to look like it's been assembled by, pieces from the junkyard, because there's going to be one panel one color and another panel the other color, and maybe another panel that's the same color as another panel, but it's going to look like pieces that are put together. And one of the guys that I talked to when I was in the process of wrapping my car, he said my car looked like it had come from a chop shop or something, because panels were different pieces. But that doesn't matter, okay? That does not matter, because yes, right now, for example, when you're in the process, it might look like it came from a chop shop, but give it a week or 2 weeks, and then tell me what you think about the car then, It's gonna look completely different and it's gonna look amazing. So if you wanna wrap your own vehicle, don't make it about the color. Make it about the actual installation process. Understand that when I went to wrap my car, it wasn't because I wanted to change the color of my car. Again, that's just a byproduct of wrapping your car. What I wanted to wrap my car for was to learn something new, was to take a mentally challenging task and complete it. And that's exactly what it is. It's a mentally challenging task. It's definitely an art form, for sure. It takes time, patience, and, the right tools. So that's how you have to look at it when you're going to wrap your car. Again, color is important, but don't focus on the color so much as, especially as a beginner. Obviously, you want to choose a color that you like, but don't make it all about the color. Don't sit there and be like, oh man, I want to change my car red. I just don't know what color of red to choose. Do I choose, Ferrari red, or do I choose matte red, or do I choose just a plain gloss red? No, see, you've already thought about the process too much as a consumer, and you're more focused on just changing the color of your car. In that case, just pay to have it professionally installed and just save yourself the headache of doing it. But if you're like me and you want to learn something new and you want to take on a task that's going to actually challenge you and, is going to make you, frustrated, but is going to be ultimately rewarding in the end, then maybe wrapping a vehicle is for you. Because that's what wrapping a car is about. It's about taking on a task, learning something new, and doing something for yourself where at the end you can say, man, I can't believe I did that. It's a feeling that you'll never get by having somebody professionally install a wrap for you. Because you drop off your car, you pay for the wrap, and a few days later, or a week later, you come back and you pick it up and your car's a different color. And that's never going to give you the same amount of satisfaction as wrapping your own vehicle, despite what color it is. Despite what color it is. Even if you get a wrap color that's on sale, obviously you want to go for a company that is well respected. Vivid, 3M, Avery Dennison, Hexus. You want to go for a company that is well respected when it comes to choosing a wrap. I would highly recommend that you don't go for that cheap stuff. But when you go, you choose you choose a good quality wrap, and then you come back, you wrap your car. It's just something really rewarding, because it's hard. It's hard to do, and when you can see it out and you can do it, people respect it for you, and you respect yourself a lot more, because you did something that you didn't think you could do, and you did it. So I'm here to tell you that when you go to wrap your own car, again, be more focused on what it takes to be a wrap installer. So do your research, watch videos, look at what tools you're gonna need, and go from there. Don't make it about the color. Make it about the process, because that's when you get good results as a beginner. It's when you make it about the process, and when you want to take on the process of learning how to wrap a vehicle. That is when things will look good. When you are focused more on the consumer side of it, you're not going to get a good rap job. So with that being said, understand that if I can do it, you can do it too. You just got to put yourself in the right mindset. So I hope that helped you out a little bit. If it did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Leave your feedback down below. What mindset did you put yourself into? Or, is this helping you in terms of gaining enough confidence to wrap your own vehicle? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button for future content. As always, I'm Steven, out here hanging out, having fun. See you in the next video.